Hey, Cannes Film Festival lineup announcement tonight, 2 a.m. Pacific time. What's up, it's Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm going to be doing a hopefully pretty quick album review on the new Black Country New Road album, Forever Howlong. So, British rock, pop rock group Black Country New Road is back with their third studio album. They are one of the most exciting, young, promising British bands working right now. To give you a little backstory, they came out of the windmill scene, which is the same scene, the same bar, I believe, that spawned many other great British bands like Black Midi and Squid. So, anyways, Black Country New Road has been a pretty big name since their debut full-length studio album because of Rate Your Music and Fantano, and of course that is For the First Time, which I believe is released in 2020 or 2019, around that time. I don't know. But I think 2020. Yeah, so For the First Time got released and it was fantastic. And it was some of the most strange, fun, anxiety inducing, spoken word, rambly, nerve wracking, post rock, maybe punk, maybe art rock kind of album Frankenstein that is just absolutely fantastic. But the band doesn't stop from there. From then on, the next year, they released Ants from Up There, one of the most critically acclaimed albums of the decade so far, and according to Rate Your Music, the best album of the 2020s so far. This is a huge departure stylistically from For the First Time. Ants from Up There is so much more tear-jerking, so much more emotional, vulnerable, and it's really beautiful, even though I still personally prefer For the First Time. Now, the big news after Ants from Up There is that Isaac Wood, the vocalist and frontman of the band, had to leave because of mental health reasons. So, a lot of fans of Black Country New Road really didn't know what direction the band would go after this. Will the band break up? Will they find a new singer? What are they going to do after this? I mean, Isaac Wood was the heart and soul of the band, right? Now, the answer to that question is, of course, a couple years ago when they released Live at Bush Hall, which is not a studio release, but a live release nonetheless. But it isn't live performance of all the songs they had previously made, but a live performance of all the songs they had never really released, including Up Song, which is a beautiful celebration of the band and friendship and love and music, and of course that became one of my favorite songs of the year. But following that, we have finally have the first full-length studio album since Isaac Wood's departure, Forever Howlong. Now, even though Isaac Wood is gone, there are still a lot of members in that band that can actually sing, including Georgia Ellery, who already is in a synth pop duo called Jockstrap, which is amazing, and the other singer being Tyler Hyde. Now, as expected, Forever Howlong is stylistically different again from the first two albums. This time around, they really focus in on the prog pop and the baroque pop elements. Gone is the anxiety inducing spoken word or the tear jerking vulnerable songwriting. Now, this album pretty much owns in on feel good pop rock tunes with a lot of instrumentation once again. The album opener, Besties, is about being besties. It's a really wholesome song about unrequited love and a friendship. Georgia Ellery's vocals are so innocent and genuine and sweet, and it was fantastic. We also have some very baroque keyboards, laid back saxophones and guitars. It's just a really welcoming opening, a warm hug. It's just really nice. Then we have The Big Spin, which is a moving pop rock anthem. We have a lot of interesting chord changes. Something that I really love from Black Country New Road since their beginning is their very immaculate use of chord changes. magical passages with trilling guitars and flutes. I just wish that this track is longer, but some of the lyrics here are pretty interesting and fun and weird. But I think that the Lemons might make a comeback this year. Maybe we'll get the Beats to join us this time around the sun. Whatever that means. I love fruits and vegetables. Then we have a couple of pretty weak tracks, unfortunately. Socks, I think, is a very theatrical track. This track feels like it's plucked out of a play, a musical, or something. We have dramatic, quiet passages, then it swells to emotional highs, then it crashes down. But the thing is, it's a bit too all over the place, and melodically, it's just not that interesting. It just doesn't really stick. I can pretty much say the same thing for the next track, Salem Sisters, which I find pretty one note. There are some beautiful sounding guitars and drums, but none of those instrumentals really flourish into great highs, even though I like the lyrical endeavor into the Salem Witch Trials. Then we have Two Horses, which tells the story of a faraway solo traveler who runs into thieves or burglars. Not burglars. What's the term again? I completely forgot. It's not assault. Robbers? Robbers. Right. She runs into robbers, escapes. In the second half of the song, she goes into a bar and meets an interesting, mysterious, handsome man. And then I won't spoil the rest of the story. What I love about the storytelling on this track is that I can't even tell if this is set in the modern day or the medieval times, or maybe it's a Wild West thing. I don't really know. But I love how timeless it is. I love how you can place a story at any given moment in history and it would still somehow kind of work out. And that is paired with dreary flutes and clarinets. And the second half of this track is straight up country with quick, shuffly drums, banjos, swirly chord progressions. I know this is a very silly comparison, but the swirly chord progressions immediately reminds me of Black Midi. We have Mary, which is a sad and solemn ballad that has a bit of drums and some layered vocals. Lyrically, it is about our main character, Mary, getting bullied at school. I wish that there would be some kind of resolution to this story. I wish this story would end on a more wholesome note, or at least some kind of note. So there's that. Now, on to my favorite track on the entire album, Happy Birthday. We have these sweet and dramatic and strange pianos. It feels like something David Bowie would do in his Ziggy Stardust era. Then the track starts gaining momentum and we have these moving drums and guitars and it builds up to an amazing climax and it's easily instrumentally one of the strongest on the entire album. Following that, for the cold country, we have the story of a metal-clad knight who grapples with the idea of changing times and aging. The second half has some amazing inspirational highs with exploding horns and guitars. Following that, Nancy Tries to Take the Night is a song about motherhood and choosing between having the child or suicide. But such a heavy topic is given such hopeful and beautiful instrumentation with marching drums and angular saxophone clarinet duets. It's actually really lovely. The title track, unfortunately, it's the most scant song, both melodically and instrumentally. The story seems to be the least ambitious as well, not that interesting. Then the album ends off with Goodbye, Don't Tell Me, which I think is a beautiful finish where all the instrumentals and vocals sort of come together for a simple but feel-good ending where all is well, everything's bright, and in major key. We have these repeating refrains. I've fallen in love with a feeling. I've fallen in love with a feeling. And there's something almost Beatles-esque about these refrains and this ending. So yeah, overall, this is not a bad album. A lot of fans might be turned off because this is a stylistic departure from the last two albums. Isaac Wood is not on this album. Yes, we get it. But the rest of the band is still immaculately talented. And some of the tracks here are pretty forgettable, but I would say overall, I would listen to this album again and again. It's still a good time. I'm giving the new Black Country New Road album, Forever Howlong, a light 8 out of 10. So, have you listened to the new Black Country New Road album? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.